Hello. On Monday, we learned about the basic structure of poems. We learned about lines and stanzas and rhyme schemes. Today, we're going to learn some vocabulary words that will help us better understand what poetry means. So the first word that we are going to learn, or words, is speaker or narrator. Just like in a story, the speaker or the narrator is the person telling the story, the point of view in which the poem is actually being told from. So to help me remember what that means, I'm going to draw a simple little picture. Person telling the story. So I'm going to draw a little person. And we'll make them happy. And the person is going to be talking into a microphone. In other words, they are the person doing the talking, the point of view in which the poem is being told. The next important word you need to know about poems is a lot of times poems have a mood or a tone about them. Some poems are happy and some poems are sad or deep. They get you thinking a lot. So the mood or the tone is how the poem is meant to be taken emotionally or how it makes you feel. So how a poem makes you feel. So to show that, I'm going to draw some emojis because those are things I know how to draw that show different feelings and emotions. So I'm going to draw 3 emojis. The first one is going to be a happy smiling emoji. The second one is going to be a in the middle emoji. And the third one is going to be a sad emoji. Okay, so these represent the different things that you feel when you read a poem. Some might make you laugh, some might make you cry. Different poems make you feel different things. So the next word that you're going to hear quite a bit, especially in language arts, is imagery. Imagery is the picture you get in your mind when you're reading a poem. The picture in your mind, what you imagine is happening. The picture in your mind, or what you think about as you're reading the poem. To help me remember what that means, I am going to draw another emoji, but a side profile emoji. And then my favorite thing, I'm going to do a thought balloon, kind of like a comic book. When it's a cloud, it means that you're thinking it. And the imagery is the picture you get in your mind. So if it's a happy poem, you might see sun and flowers. It's whatever you think, and hearts and balloons and smiley faces, because it's a happy poem. If it's a sad poem, you will get sad images in your mind. If it's maybe a scary poem, you might get frightful images in your mind, things that scare you. That is called imagery. And one way that we show imagery is by using figurative language, just like what we're learning in language arts right now. There are many different forms of figurative language, like similes and metaphors, but figurative language is words and expressions that give more power to and meaning behind what you're trying to say. Oftentimes, it's through a comparison. Sometimes it's a comparison of something you can't touch, like love. You can't touch love, but you can touch a cat. So if you can compare love to maybe your cat in some way, then people will better understand. So figurative language there are sayings like idioms and similes where you compare using like or as. I'm going to give you an example. One example of figurative language is busy as a bee. Now, something you need to know, this doesn't mean that you're so busy you turned into a bee and actually started buzzing around. It just means you're so busy, and whenever you see a bee, they're busy, they're at work, they're collecting pollen. So let's draw our little bee. I'm going to draw a big oval and a smaller circle. I'm going to make lines for the stripes on my bee. A stinger, although a lot of different bees don't even sting. And then I'm going to draw my antenna, an eye, and a happy face, as busy as a bee. And we're going to make this bee look super busy by swirling around. So it doesn't mean literally that you're busy like a bee, but you're being compared to a bee, which bees are generally very busy. So it is a non-literal. Literal means you don't take it word for word. A non-literal meaning behind a certain phrase that compares. And as the weeks go on, we're going to learn all the different types of figurative language. But if I say as busy as a bee, I can say, oh, well, I'm sorry, I was busy. I was too busy. Well, that just sounds boring. But if I said, I'm sorry, this weekend I was busy as a bee, then you're going to know I was really busy because you can see that picture of that busy little bee buzzing around. So that compares. Non-literal meaning behind a phrase that compares. We'll just leave it like that. And finally, here's another word that you have heard before, and that is theme. And just like in reading a story, the theme is the message that the writer is trying to convey to the reader, the message that the writer is trying to convey to the reader. And you know what I think of when I think of a message? Yep, I think of a text message. So that would make a perfect little picture. So I'm going to draw another word balloon, but this one, instead of being a thought balloon, it's going to be a word balloon like this. And there's going to be a line like that to represent that it's a message. That's perfect. So all of these components will help you to better understand what the poem is trying to say. What you need to know, first of all, is who is talking, who is telling the poem or telling the story. What kind of mood is it that they're trying to set? One of happiness or sadness or fear? Do they give you that picture in your mind or imagery so that you can actually have a vision of what's going on? Do they use figurative language to show comparisons to things that maybe you better understand? And finally, what is the message that they want you to take away?